Hey, yes, welcome. What's happening? Here we go. Florian Wirtz. Yes, the transfer saga of the summer so far, such that it has been, looks like it is finally reaching, I guess, what has been an inevitable conclusion. Although at times when it has dragged its heels a little bit, and we've had, 99% updates and God knows how many absolutely empty, meaningless updates. Are we finally here? Are we going to see him announced as a Liverpool player? Yes, though not immediately. Not immediately because it's not being broken by Liverpool. It is being broken by, I guess, the sort of usual suite of people who are in the know in this. It is Fabrizio Romano, Florian Plettenberg and Sacha Tavolieri in particular, but I'm certain that others will follow. I'll read what they've put in a second, but I just want to highlight the fact, if you're new here, welcome to Redmen TV. We have one of the best purpose-built independent media studios in this country, arguably in the world. No expense spared. We're able to achieve all kinds of incredible technical feats. We've been doing this for 15 years. 15 years ago, Redmen TV started broadcasting through that door there. Yeah, on the other side of that wall, in that room, and here I am. This is how far we've come, because Fabrizio Romano couldn't have just held on till the morning when we've got our incredible team of producers and staff, and I'm not wearing a t-shirt that is now pyjama wear. No, we couldn't have held on. So here we are. Look, I'm sure we'll talk about it in more depth tomorrow, when more stuff comes out and, it looks like there's going to be more. We're going to see, planes presumably flying, and we're going to see, signatures, and we're going to see him holding a shirt and all that kind of stuff. But right now, Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted, exclusive, Florian Wirtz to Liverpool. Here we go. Liverpool verbally agreed deal in principle with Bayer Leverkusen, package reaching 150 million euros, add-ons included. Player side already agreed 2 weeks ago, with move now imminent. Wirtz set for medical and contract signing. Florian Plettenberg at Plettigol on Twitter. Similar stuff. Florian Wirtz to Liverpool is considered to be a done deal. New talks today. A full agreement in principle has now been reached with Bayer Leverkusen after Fabrizio Romano. Transfer fee as revealed, up to 150 million euros, add-ons included, medical still pending, and then a few little number one medal things going on here. Most expensive sale in Bundesliga history, most expensive signing in Liverpool's history, most expensive signing in Premier League history as well. Oof. Now, I did ponder this question on the Redmen Originals podcast, which was filmed with good lighting, in good camera equipment, in a fabulous looking studio on Monday with my wonderful co-hosts, Chris Page at Tan Club and Chloe Bloxham. So go and check out that, where we had some Wirtz chat on there as well, of course, about this British transfer record thing and whether it's important, because, we were umming and ahhing over the fee. Now, obviously, with add-ons, it'll absolutely break it, but there is a little bit of confusion over whether you have to do it with the initial fee or whatever, I guess. There was talk Monday that we were just hovering underneath the British transfer record, and I pondered the question, and I'll ask you guys it right now. Feel free to use the comments below to answer. Is that important? Is that a good thing that Liverpool are doing this? And I don't mean that Liverpool are spending money. It's brilliant that Liverpool are going out and identifying best in class in the transfer market. It's been a little while since we've done that, so it's great to see us back on that track again. But in terms of what it means and what a statement it means, it's been a long time since Liverpool have broken the British transfer record, a very, very, very long time. I'm old enough to remember when we did it with Stan Collymore, and obviously, that didn't work out as we would have hoped. But what a wonderful feeling of power it was for Liverpool to go and do that. A real sort of signal of intent. We owned Robbie Fowler and Steve McManaman, and we still had, I guess probably it was the end of John Barnes' era and whatever, but he was coming towards the tail end of his career. But we had some Jamie Redknapp, we had some brilliant talent, and then we went out and added a really exciting one. It tells footy that Liverpool are, for me anyway, they're right at the top of the pecking order. But the flip side of it is, does it say that Liverpool are now maybe being a bit loose with the cash or whatever. Thoughts below. Are you pleased to hear that Liverpool are breaking the British transfer record? It could be a yes or no. It doesn't need to have had this kind of lengthy question, if I'm being perfectly honest, but here we are. We're here. Sacha Tavolieri, just for completeness sake, says, worldwide exclusive confirmed. Okay. Total agreement reached between Bayer Leverkusen and Liverpool on €150 million package as expected. Wirtz fly in the next hours for medical. As revealed, Wirtz only wanted to join LFC and will sign a 5-year contract. That's a little bit of new information, if nothing else, which is good. Which is good to hear, right? Isn't it? I just got another thing that I'm just waiting to load up that Steve has sent over to me. Fabrizio Romano is talking about it, and I won't steal his content by doing it, but yeah, check out Here We Go Corner on Instagram if you want a little bit more of an update from Fabio Romano on that good stuff. Yeah, how are we feeling? I mean, there was, I think, a really strong feeling that this was likely to happen. I'm still a bit stunned that Liverpool are in this kind of the shopping in this market. One of the things I said on the podcast this week is that I think the players that Man City are trying to buy are the kind of players that Liverpool would have bought in previous years because Man City would have bought the players that Liverpool are buying. So I think Liverpool absolutely would have been in for Ryan Cherky, because Florian Wirtz would have gone to Man City and he would have been the next in line down that list of targets to fulfill that kind of role in the team. Kerkez looks like he's likely to be next as well, to the point I think Ryan Aït-Nouri looks like he could have been a player that Liverpool would have targeted, but Kerkez I think is a little bit better. So fascinating that we're doing this again. And I know it seems, I think, to most, the general sort of, again, opinion or osmosis about Liverpool's ownership group is they don't like to spend money. But I think in the history of what I've seen, you know, when there's a player there that can hugely improve what you do, if there's an opportunity arises in the transfer market, they'll spend big when they need to, not necessarily consistently, and perhaps needs to be done a little bit more consistently. Not like this, but like, you know, just a little bit looser with the purse strings in a general sense. But you know, this is a Van Dijk move. This is looking around the transfer market and saying, we need someone who just, we need someone who's better than Dominic Szoboszlai and Harvey Elliott. And some people might go, yeah, easy peasy. But you're talking about fantastic footballers there. Fantastic. Both of those guys are capable of getting double figures goals and assists over the course of a full season, there or thereabouts. This guy is a step above that by all accounts. And that's the thing where, again, going back to the Van Dijk thing, there were other centre-halves available on the market. I remember Jurgen Klopp saying, you know, you need to be better than what we've got. And I think people scoffed at the idea that, you know, oh, well, surely you can buy better than Lovren and Matip and Gomez and whatever. But ultimately, they were all really, really good centre-halves. You know, some variation in there, of course. But you wanted a game changer, and Van Dijk was worth waiting for. He was worth paying the money for. And of course, exactly the same with Alisson Becker. There was no shortage of pretty good goalies, but actually to go out and get one who was on that pathway to being an absolute stunner of a human being, man, specimen and goalie was definitely, ultimately, as we know, money well spent as well. So yeah, it shouldn't be so shocking that we've done this, and yet it still feels it, because it felt very much like Bayern Munich were all over this player. This was just the most obvious Bayern Munich transfer there'd been, except all of a sudden it wasn't. And, you know, when we've seen Liverpool kind of keep the powder dry at times in the market, you know, they definitely flashed their hand with the Caicedo bid a couple of summers ago, but we've not seen them go back like that since. To go and do this, I mean, there was a lot of fears of like, oh, where's that money gone? Where's it gone? What are they doing? When they didn't go big in the transfer market last summer and Slot stuck it out with what he had, you know, what he had was an absolutely sensational squad full of brilliant footballers. But when he stuck it out with those, you know, this is him reaping the rewards. In one summer, he gained the trust of, and him and Richard Hughes collective gained the trust of Michael Edwards and FSG, and been allowed to go into the market and pull off this is just, this game-changing transfer for Liverpool, potentially on the pitch and off the pitch, because, it very much says Liverpool have just tied down Mohamed Salah and they've just tied down Virgil van Dijk. Now, of course, Trent's gone to Real Madrid, and that could upset the apple cart in terms of that still says Real Madrid are something of a destination. You know, who knows where Wirtz's future lies in 5 years or whatever, but Liverpool to go out there now and say, look, shit happens. You know, the Trent thing can go the way the Trent thing goes. That's up to him. But it doesn't mean Liverpool are going to go quietly into the night. It doesn't mean we're going to, vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Tonight, we're celebrating Florian Wirtz night / day. Maybe that's tomorrow. Good. Brilliant. More to come on this, of course. And any opinions you have, please use the comment section underneath. If you want to go deeper on transfers, and I would highly recommend that you do on this, Redmen Plus is the one for you. Dan Clubb does expert insight at an absolutely astonishing rate. Been speaking to all kinds of journalists in the know, on not just on Florian Wirtz, but on Kerkez and on Frimpong in the past. So if you want to get to know Liverpool's new signings and potential targets and all the more besides. And we've also done a podcast this week called the Bayer Transfer Podcast, where we look at the business of other teams around Liverpool to keep a sense of that, as well as all the free stuff on YouTube and Acast and Spotify, etc. Head to redmenplus.com. That'd be much appreciated, guys. Exciting, very exciting. Florian Wirtz, here we go, boss.